Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Here's the first part of the first lecture on Perl. What I'd like you to do, actually, is grab your putty tool, uh, jump onto your account, and let's build Hello World, or a reasonable facsimile thereof. So let me go ahead and share our screens. Well, my screen anyway. And as you can see, I'm sitting right here on Odin. Now, what we want to do is we want to create the program that almost every programmer starts with when he or she learns a new language. And that is Hello World. First, though, um, you could make a directory to work with your Perl in, and because mine is, I've got so many files on there, I'm just going to make a directory that's SU20 and whoops, let's not worry about capital letters. Let's just do SU20 Perl. So then I'm going to CD into, whoops. See, that's why I hate capital letters, because I always forget about it. So if I ls minus L here, again, we've got a grand total of 0 files. Now, in order for us to create a new file, we're going to go back to our friendly Vim program, and we're going to Vim, let's just call it Perlo, hello. Let's try hello.perl. And .perl is abbreviated by taking the center two letters out to .pl. Once again, we've got our just blank Vim window. As always, I'm going to just escape :W to write it so that at least I maintain the blank version of it, even if for some reason I disconnect. So the first thing we need to do in Perl is know that Perl is what they call an interpreted language. It is not a compiled language like C or C++. With those two, you can actually create an executable file that you can hand off to your friends and they can run it on their machines. You can still do this with Perl, but there are a few steps that they have to know how to do, and the Perl language really needs to be on their machine. In doing a program, though, we start off, whoops, with what they call the shebang line. The pound symbol and the exclamation point. Then we do a /USR user bin binaries, and we want the binaries for Perl. Now, oh, I've got the auto comment on. Okay, that's okay. Perl is a very, very flexible language. Basically, it has the fewest rules that it can get away with. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we put some rules on it. And what we're going to do is add something called a pragma, which is a fancy way of saying, I want to bring this set of rules or this set of extra tools into Perl. And we do that with a use statement. And the pragma that we're going to use is capital MODERN, 2 colons, and Perl. Now you notice the shebang line, I didn't have anything after it. But in most programming languages today, including Perl, when you're writing a sentence in an English class, you always end it with a period unless it's excited or questioning. With programming languages, though, you almost always end everything in a semicolon. Now, I'm going to post the Perl Honor Pledge later. So for right now, I'm just going to put the pound symbols up there and type honors pledge. Whoops. And again, that's just a way for you to inform the university that you haven't cheated on the program that we're working on. So the very first thing we want to do as programmers when we approach a new language is usually find out how the output and input works. So we're going to start with output. And what we're going to do is Perl, like a lot of languages, uses a print statement. So we're going to print double quotation marks, hello world. And again, we need that semicolon. And that is a complete syntactically correct Perl program. You are all now Perl programmers, at least if you followed along with me here and did it on your own. So I'm going to escape, colon, write, and quit, just like we did when we were building HTML. I'm going to ls minus l again, just so we see that the Perl program is there, hello.pl. Pardon me, just like when we were, if you've done Java, you type in Java and then the name of your program. Here we type in Perl, and we're going to go, I do not want to spell hello correctly tonight. Perl.pl, and if I run it, you see it? Yeah, right there it is. But you know what? If I had to grade that or look at, 40 different programs that had hello world all squished up in the next line's cursor, it would drive me slightly bonkers. So let's go in there and fix it. So once again, we vim hello.perl. Now, you remember I talked before about a new line character in HTML. I can't remember if I gave this class the analogy or not, but if you've ever seen some of these old movies, I think there was a Santa Claus Christmas movie one time that showed a room of women, and I apologize, ladies, but at the time that movie was shot, it was all women, typing furiously on manual typewriters, and when they got to the end of the line, it would ding, they grab this silver lever and they push it over. And that would both move the spool that the paper goes through to the left-hand side again, but it would also scroll it up by one line of letters. So that's our new line character, and that's where it comes from. In Perl, we've got something similar. Let's hit the insert key here, \n. Now notice on my screen how \n becomes purple. That's a way for me to know that I've been successful. That's what we call one of the special characters. It is, there are a lot more of them, and we'll take a look at those here in a few minutes. But let's see what this does for us. So once again, I'm going to Perl hello.pl. That's a little better, right? The first time we ran it, we didn't have any space at all. Now we've got one new line character that's pushed us down by a vertical space, but it's still got the cursor right up next to our output, and that's kind of bad karma. So let's go back in there and let's fix that. If one new line character in the front of hello world gave us that extra vertical space, let's see what happens if one in the back does the same. So insert again our \. By the way, the \/ is the one that's right above the enter key on your QWERTY keyboard. And N. So now we have those two special characters. They call them escape characters. The backward slash is known as an escape. So escape N says, give me a new line, not the letter N. And let's hit escape, colon, write, and quit. Let's look at it again. Well, that's much better, right? We don't have the cursor sharing the same line as the output, but there's an easy way to fix that too, right? I'm sure that some of you already know what I'm headed for. And that is, I'm going to go back up into here, put my cursor on the double quotation marks, hit the insert key, and \n one more time. So escape, colon, Write and quit. Now we've got what it looks like. And for every Perl assignment you do, you should have a line above your output for the assignment and a line below your output assignment be blank. That way it's easy and it looks a little more professional to see your output rather than having it all jumbled up inside of the screen noise. I apologize. I was sure that was on airplane mode. Okay. Sorry, that was Stephen telling me that he's got some more assignments done. So there's my hello world. I am sure that this being a programming class and you having all gone through high school, and probably some of you are in mathematics right now or have been through advanced mathematics. But think about for a minute while I go back into the program, what the definition of a variable is, right? It's kind of like those old flashcards that we used to use in grade school. You guys may not use them anymore, but I got so bored of having the bloody flashcards. But in the flashcard, when you have 3 plus an underline equals 6, that underline is the same as the letter X in basic algebra. So if you use flashcards, you were doing algebra before you even knew what the word stood for. Wood stood for, word stood for. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about variables. And in math, a variable holds the place of a number that we solve for, that we don't know what it is yet. That's the same thing that variables do in a computer program, is they stand for something that may be input by our users that we have no idea what they're going to do. It may be something that in a run of a particular program that a random input comes in and that holds that random number. There can be all kinds of different things, words, letters, numbers that go into a variable. Now, in a lot of languages, you have to say, I'm going to hold an integer in this variable. I am going to hold a string in this variable, which is a fancy computer way for saying a sentence, a string of letters tacked together, basically. For Perl, we call our variables scalars. We name them with a $sign and then a word. And we don't have to declare what we're going to put in them before we do them. So the key to Perl variables, come on, there we go, is my. That says I want to reserve a little bit of memory for this particular variable in your memory banks, Mr. Computer or Mrs. Computer, as the case may be. So my $greeting is going to be assigned the value of greetings. Now, in math, this particular symbol right here on the screen, the 2 bars over each other, is called an equal sign. In programming, that's an assignment operator. The way you properly read this is my $greeting is assigned the value of the word greetings. If we wanted to find out whether what was in greetings was equal to greetings, for equality, we use 2 equal signs. But a single equal sign is called an assignment operator. And we're going to use that several times here this afternoon. Now, I'm going to leave that hello world up there. And I'm going to make a new sentence. I know I want to have some space, just like the last one. So I'm going to do \n. And we're going to do $greeting, whoops, space. And then 2 of those \n's again, because I want to have that extra space after it. So do you think is going to happen? In many programming languages, you would have to use concatenation or something else to get that word out of the variable and into your sentence. It depends on the language that you are, how we do that. In Perl, we're doing something called interpolation. And in interpolation, as long as the variable itself is listed inside of double quotations, we bring the value of what is inside that variable out as the object to be printed. Okay, so let's hit the escape. We're going to write and quit. We're going to go up again and say Perl hello.pl, and look at that. So what we've got there is our original hello world, which we printed out as what we call a literal string, which means we printed out exactly what we wanted to see on the screen. In the bottom one, we've got an interpolated variable and literal string combined just by using that term interpolation, which is putting the variable in between two quotation marks. Now we're going to do this one more time, but I'm going to, would help if I hit the insert key. I'm going to print a single quote, \n, $greeting. Oops. And world, what I have? Let's have 3 exclamation points this time. \n, double quote, semicolon. Whoops. Sorry, we're doing it non-interpolated. A non-interpolated sentence uses single quotation marks. Now, the color should clue you into something, but let's see what happens when we run it. Again. I'm sorry I got the J in my cursor, but what you see is that a non-interpolated string means it's not going to use those escaped ends to give us the carriage returns. The funky meanings of the letter A when it's got the escape character, the \, in front of it. So, interpolation in Perl means I will take whatever is in this $sign or in this scalar variable, and I will put what's inside of it out to the screen as long as you give me the big double quotes. If you use single quotes, I'm going to consider that as non-interpolated, and I'm going to put exactly what you have between the single quotation marks in order to make this happen. So, whoops, I did not want a visual block, thank you. There we go. So, generally, by the way, if you hit the wrong key in Vim, you can just hit the escape button a few times and back it out. If that doesn't work, you can try a control Q, control key and Q. Mac people, whatever you use as a control key, that will probably work the same for you, okay? So let's do a couple more things. Programs are really boring if your user doesn't have any chance to interact with them, right? So let's print, hey there, can you please give me a number? Now, the reason I use print here is, and the reason I use the \n, by the way, is that if we don't use the \n, the next thing that happens comes right up against the last thing that you put in. So what we need to do here is close that sentence, close that print statement, and now we're going to use what we call the diamond operator. So we're going to make it a little bit fancy because we're going to declare a variable right here. So my dollar answer one is assigned the value of what we call the diamond operator. Now, in the really old days, you would see stdin inside those. Perl is smarter now. You don't have to do stdin. That stands for standard input. And right now, my standard input is my keyboard. You could find that for an artist, it was one of those draw pads, or maybe it would be the touchpad, keypad on a notepad, something like that. But there we go. So my dollar answer equals a diamond operator. Okay. Now, the very last thing that happens here, let's go ahead and do this. Print, double quotes, \n, dollar answer one. I'm just going to do is the answer. A little happy with my backslashes there, but that's okay. And again, remember, everything needs to end in a semicolon with a few rare exceptions. Like the shebang line is one of those exceptions. So let's escape, colon, write, and quit. We're going to go, hey, let's see it go. Hello, world, greetings, world. And then we've got that. Oh, I forgot to do something there, but that's okay. You can see right here, it says, hey there, please give me a number. Oops, delete is not a number, by the way. Let's do 22, just for the heck of it. Now, take a look at the way the output is. You notice I've got 22, but in my code, and then I've got a line down is the answer. But in my code, I've got this all on one line, right? So something's happening in here that is related to dollar answer one that is preventing my output from being on the same line. Whoops. Let's go back up out of our screen here a little bit. 22, then there's a new line character, then there is the answer. Now, the reason that happens is because the very last thing you do when you hit an input is you press the enter key. And the enter key is like a new line character. That's what it's recorded as. So when we get dollar answer one into our memory, it's actually dollar answer one and there's an invisible backslash in. You can think of it that way. So what we need to do here is we need to use a new Perl command. And I like this one because it reminds me of Godzilla, and that is chomp. So we use the word chomp. You notice it's yellow. That means it's a Perl reserved word. And I'm going to put a parentheses up there and just dollar answer one, a semicolon. And then what I want to do, let's go ahead and highlight this. My cursor's down there. It's not going to let me do it anymore. Damn your rules, Odin. Sometimes I feel like Loki here, being against Odin. But let's see what happens. Dollar answer one is the answer. I cannot type today. And then we'll do the backslash n, double quote, semicolon. What I want to do there, though, is up where we had this, in order for me to see what's going out, and you will find that while you're doing this for the first, few programs, maybe even more than that, because I still do it. is you'll start automatically capitalizing things like the print. And we won't want that. We need to have all of these commands in Perl in lowercase. Now, look at that print statement. I've got 2 \n. What do you think that's going to do? Think about it. I'm going to save this and go out and run it. Whoops. There we go. So, by the way, if all this crap above you on the screen bothers you, bugs you, whatever you want to say it, just type the word clean, or excuse me, clear. I'm pretty sure clean was a different language. I don't remember anymore, to be honest with you. But then we're in the same place. So let us Perl hello.pl. And now you see with the print statement and the 2 \n between the non-interpolated sentence and our request for a number is just fine. If I hit 22 again and hit the enter key, the first time we didn't use chomp, we didn't clear the invisible \n off the 22. So we got 22, 1 line down is the answer. The right way we want to do it is to always chomp our variables when they're getting input from the keyboard, and 22 is the new answer. Okay, so let's get some more variables in. You know what, before we get new variables, let's just do this. Let's do my $num1. I wasn't trying that. I forgot to hit the insert key. So my $num1 is assigned the value of, let's do 12, just for the heck of it. My $num2 is assigned the value of 6. No, let's make it a -6, -6. Now, what I've been doing there is I've been initializing or declaring my variable and then initializing it in the same step. You don't have to do it that way. What you can do is my $num3, thank you, and close it off. That's the declaration of a variable. And then $num3 is assigned the value of, I don't know, let's do 8. So far, so good. But remember that this takes the 2-step process of num3 and takes it all the way down into a single line. Now, because we're doing this from the code side, we don't have to worry about chomping these variables. They won't have the \n from the enter point or the enter key. But let's do some math with these. Okay, so let's do my $answer2 is assigned the value of $num1. Whoops. See, I told you, you'll think back to your English rules a little bit and things will be messed up. But you just have to learn how to keep your eyes open and ready for it. Too busy thinking and talking about what I'm thinking to remember to hit the insert key. We only want it once though. Oh, for crying out loud, that's right. Sorry. On the Loki server, I'm figured out how to make it give me back my 10-key keypad. And Odin, unfortunately, is a pain in the butt so it doesn't let me do that. But plus num3, so num1 plus num3 is going to give me 20. And then we're going to add, whoops, num2. And remember, every variable, we call them scalars again in Perl, but every scalar variable has to have that $sign in front of it. So what we've got here is 12 plus 8 is 20. 20 plus a minus 6 should give us 14. And then we're going to do the same thing we did, second line of code we did. Print, double quotes, backslash n, answer 2 dollar num1 plus dollar num3 plus dollar num2 is dollar answer 2. Do the 2 backslash n's, our double quote, and our semicolon. Notice if we look back up here to the top of this page, it looks exactly the same with the exception of 4 variables in the output instead of just 1. So let's see this run. Escape, colon, write, and quit. We're going to Perl up hello.pl. Hello world, greetings world, greetings world. Can you give me a number? There's my 22 again. My answer to 12 plus 8 plus a minus 6 is 14. So we rock. We did it. Now, the cool thing about variables in programming is that they're kind of like, you know, a metal bucket that you put, I don't know, chicken chow in to take it out and feed the chickens. Once you're done with having chicken feed in it, you can bring that bucket back out, fill it full of water, and go out and give water to the horses if that's what you need to do. A variable holds a space for information to live on a temporary basis. So we're going to use num1, num2, and num3 again, but we're going to get the values of those. We're going to replace the current values, the 12, the minus 6, and the 8, with our user's preferred set of values. So let's, again, we're going to do the diamond operator here. So I like to have this a little more in the middle of the screen. It bugs me when I'm typing along the bottom row. So we're going to print, let's do backslash n. New thing. To give me 3 random numbers. All right, let's see what that looks like here. Hey there, new thing I need you to give me 3 random numbers. So what I'm going to do, because I don't like the way the computer just randomly splits things, so I'm going to go down there between random and numbers, and I'm going to put a backslash n in between there. And we're going to see what it looks like. I am also going to go up here. By the way, if you're at the end of one of your lines of code and you press home, you go to the beginning. If you're at the home, the very beginning of it, and press end, you go back to the end of that particular line of code. So I'm going to go back to home. You notice that there was a space in between the left side of the screen and the word hey there. Plus, you probably noticed that it was not capitalized. So we're going to go back there. We're going to hit the delete key twice. That is not what I asked. Oh, once again, people, I forgot to do the insert. But now we're on the insert mode. I'm going to capitalize my H and hey there. When I was in English, they used to tell us all that you had to have 2 spaces after a period or exclamation mark. So we're going to backslash n right there in the middle. Now, don't get confused by the backslash n and the n, I should say. You can see with the coloration, of course, that the escape character is purple, the n in numbers is red. It's not going to do anything to what our user reads, except it's going to make it neater on the page. So we're going to do escape, colon, write, and quit. We'll come up twice and do Perl hello.Perl 22 again. That's a little bit better. I got to respell math because mat is not what I was looking for. But after that, we've got, again, I'm going to press N to get down there. We've got a pretty good looking program with some output that's decent. So MATH, we'll capitalize that just for the heck of it. Okay, and you guys don't have to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and run it one more time because now we see that it is, I think, a pretty good screen presentation there. So we're going to vim hello.Perl again, and just like we did before when we go paging up, we're going to repeat these 2 lines 3 times. And we're going to ask them, as I said before, for bucket num1, num2, and num3. We're going to end that and go back down. So we're going to print, oh, for crying out loud. Did I mention I was having difficulty typing today? So print, please give me your dollar for your first number. Again, I like to colon, space, double quote, semicolon. Remember your semicolons. And then we're going to have, we don't need to use the my anymore. Because I forgot I said I was going to use the dollar num1, num2, num3. Instead, what we're going to do is, well, here, let me show you what we could do. We could do dollar num1 is assigned the value of the diamond operator. That would be perfectly fine, and then we could chomp dollar num1. There we go, and a semicolon. That would work perfectly fine. It would take that invisible backslash off, and instead, it would give us just the number itself, nothing tagging along. But let's try the second one. The colon space and the semicolon. Remember that print does not automatically carriage return. So whatever is typed next comes straight up behind it. So it will look like we've got, please give me your first number, a space, and then the entry for of the user for using the program. Now, you remember also when I was up here and I showed you the difference between declaring a variable and then assigning it a value, initializing it. And I said the first 2 times we did this, we were doing both steps at the same time. So what we're going to do down here is we're going to combine the input of the data into $num1 and the chomp command. So we're going to chomp $num2 is assigned the value of the diamond operator. That gets us one line doing the work of two. And that's one of the things that Perl is pretty famous for. So we're going to do the same thing again. Please give me your third number. Again, colon, space, double quote, semicolon, hit the enter key. And once again, we're going to do that two-step thing. So chomp $num3 assign the value of the diamond operator. Close the parens, do the semicolon. Now let's do a fourth number. So let's print again, same thing. Please Viv. Please give me. Yeah. You can't read that unless you're Scottish, by the way. Please give me your fourth. Make sure you spell it correctly. Do the whole spacey thing. Now, the only problem we've got is we don't already have a $num4 declared. So we're going to combine all three steps into one. And this is what it's going to look like. So we're going to print. Oh, excuse me. We're going to chomp. If I can spell it correctly, there we go. Parentheses, declaring my $num4 equals the input from our user, the diamond operator. And I said equals, and I am absolutely wrong. On an exam, I would have got that question correct or incorrect. Single equal sign is assignment operator. Double equals is when we check whether the thing on the left and the thing on the right of the equality is the same. All right. So somewhere I can type right. The equation is, well, let's do this. Let's go, we're going to call those X, W, X, Y, Z. Okay. So W plus X divided by Y minus Z. I wanted to work that out first, but let's do this. So my dollar three is what we're on, is assigned the value of, notice W, X, Y, Z, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So $num1, do this with parentheses, by the way. $num1 plus $num2. Do those parens over there divided by $num3. Yep, $num3 minus $num4. Once again, I really want to put those in parentheses to enforce the fact that the top, or the top of the numerator divided by the denominator. So Num1 plus num2 is the numerator, num3 minus num4 is the denominator, and I want the separate numbers to be added or subtracted together first and then divided. Is that the answer is dollar answer 3. And you know what? I'm going to have to go back to the front end and give myself a couple backslash n's. And just because I can already hear my English teacher aunts spinning in their graves, I'm going to put a period at the end of my sentence. I am also going to do that backslash in at the beginning. Now, there's an error in one of the last 4 lines. Does anybody see it? It's here, but it's not at the front, it's at the back. If you miss that semicolon, it can explode your entire program depending on what's next. So let's go ahead and try this. Let's do some testing here. So 1 plus 2 is 3, divided by 3 plus 4 is 7. Ooh, that's mean. How about 0 plus 1 is 1? Yeah, that'll be better. We can actually have the answer to that one. So let's write and quit. Let's run it. We're going to do the 22 again. Give me your first number. Let's do 0, 1, 2, and 3. So 2 minus 3 is a minus 1. 0 plus 1 is a 1. 1 over 1 with a negative sign down there is going to be a negative 1. That's kind of cool. Let's try with a different set of numbers. Whoops. And let's do 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 4 plus 5 is 9. 6 minus 7 is 1. 9 over a minus 1 is negative 9. And you can have all kinds of different numbers in there, and I guarantee you they will be right. The problem is going to be if you don't use consecutive numbers like that, what you're going to get, of course, is weird decimal numbers that are, oh, I expected there to be a lot more because I just pulled those randomly out of my head. But we'll talk more about more advanced mathematics in the next set of, or well, in the set of slides that we follow. I'm going to let you guys read the About Perl. I think that's slide set 17. And then the next video that's coming out is going to be on slide sets 18, 19, and 20. And those will go over in a little more detail, matching to the printed slide. Some of the stuff we've done together here in kind of a very bloated Hello World, actually. But if you have followed along with this quite well, you are ready and raring to go for assignment 8. But I will make sure that we get the other video out before I go home today. So that's it for now. I want you guys to just keep, don't stress out, but keep focusing on the class so we can get as much of the homework done as we can. You'll see in the email that I send out in a few minutes that at least for the summer of 20, the midterm the midterm homework is out, or the midterm exam is out on top of the homework for next week. But the homework for next week is relatively easy. So I wouldn't expect there to be any problem with getting that done. All right, I will talk to you guys the next time. I'm going to stop my share here and we're going to end the broadcast for now. We'll talk to you the next time. Thank you. Have a good night.